Welcome back.
The True Vine Talks with Rachel and Linda.
Yeah. 101st episode.
Ooh, look at us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to kind of lay out what you might think of as a blueprint for healthy relationships, right? Like, what is a secure relationship actually look like? If you're so used to being in an insecure relationship where you're always pursuing or you're always avoiding, we've talked about that in several podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yes. A wonderful, lovely client of mine asked a great question. So good. And I sent it to Rachel saying, this is a great podcast idea. So thank you. How do you know what healthy is if you have been in these attachment patterns all your life? Ooh. Hmm. Oh, that's a good question. So growing up in a chaotic attachment with one of my primary caregivers, it it is a like pursuit to get what you need from a primary parent. Oh, look, I'm funny. I can do this. Look at me. Trying to get all of that attention. And then when that attention goes away and you don't get it, then you start going to avoidance and you hide from your primary parent. Yeah. And that's what I would say is a chaotic attachment is that you're reaching so harsh, so much to try to get that person to see you, the parent.
Yep.
And when they don't see you, you're left feeling empty and not seen and heard. So you just hide away. And so you get into this pattern of just pursuit, withdrawal. You know how we do the couples therapy, there's
Mm,
a pursuer and an avoidant. Well,
right.
what if your internal attachment style is a pursuer withdrawer?
Mm, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if that's all you know your whole life, it can be
Yes.
really challenging, even though you want something different, you want something
Yeah.
healthier.
Mm-hmm.
You want to break that like toxic cycle.
Right.
But it's like if you've never seen that, you've never personally experienced that, yeah, how are you supposed to know what to look for? It would be really hard.
Yeah. That is a great question. Yeah. And that's what Rachel and I are going to tackle today is how do you know how to be in a relationship when you've never felt secure?
Yeah. What are some signs that you are in like, a healthy relationship with this friend or, a romantic partner? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think would be like first thing you're looking for, Linda?
Rachel, I think thanks for those questions. I believe that you've got to do your own work. So in teaching the counseling skills at Marshall about active listening and attunement, you have to, if you're going to become a counselor, you need to go pursue your own individual therapy. If you
Hmm.
grew up, well, just do it anyway. If you
Period. Point blank. Just do it. Yes.
do it, just do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And the reason is, Rachel, if I hadn't worked on my stuff early on, I would still be in this push pull kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Hmm. And so I tell folks the first part is deal with your own internal cycle.
Mm.
Oh, Rachel hasn't spoken to me all week. She must be mad at me. I'm going to text her.
Oh,
And then when I text you, if you don't respond right away, oh, I'm just going to avoid Rachel. She doesn't care about me. I'm using that as an example. This didn't
yep.
happen with me and Rachel. We're very
We're
secure.
good.
We're so secure. And so I go back and forth. and I'm in that internal cycle.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking of EFIT, Rachel. You know how Dr. Leanne
Yes.
teaches us how to work with those parts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I think the first step is dealing with your own internal cycle. What do you think?
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So,
Why?
yeah. Well, something that's come up just so much in the past 2 weeks in my work has been people coming to realize that, like, their whole life they've always felt like they give so much more in relationships. They're the pursuer and they feel like they're always giving to other people, but no one's reciprocating that effort to them.
Mhm.
And the deeper we go in their own cycle, like internally, they realize like, oh, I I don't even know what I need, and I don't know how to communicate what I need. So when people check in on me, I tell them everything's fine, and therefore they stop checking in on me, because they assume that, and I project this like perfect image, right? I don't let anyone really in a vulnerable way. So,
Right?
right, so they're realizing like, okay, well, if I have this longing for
Hmm.
people to be there for me and support me, but in order for that to happen, I need to become more comfortable being honest about
Oh,
what I'm really feeling and what I actually need. I haven't been doing that, and that's why my needs not getting met. I'm unintentionally like my own obstacle here. Now,
yeah.
they learned to not express those needs earlier in childhood, right?
Mhm.
And that's some past stuff that we're working through, right? We understand how we got here, but this is
Right.
like the present experience of how those past experiences are still impacting them. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I love your nails. That's
Thanks. Sorry, I had to look at my hands. I
your nails today. I like it. Love
thank
the nails. Yes, and you're right, Rachel. When they ask, well, how do I really be transparent? Ask for my needs to be met because I got ignored as a kid.
you.
So, what would it even look like? Or I was anxiously pursuing the parents and like I watched this reel last night, Rachel. I was up all night for whatever reasons. And this reel, I shared it on Truevine's Facebook. The girl says, if you grew up in an abusive parent-child relationship, you learned how to manage toxic people.
Mm,
So
yeah.
your your felt sense, your view of self is, Rachel, I have to pursue them no matter what, even if they treat me like shit, like total,
Wow.
because you learn that behavior. So you're like, oh, well, it's up to me to make this relationship better. It's up to me to make sure that person's needs are met.
Literally becomes like your job. Like this
Yes.
is your whole purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So you don't know the difference, right, Rachel? Like you're like
Yeah.
trying to that well, I'm used to like taking care of people that don't love me or care about me or that's ingrained as a kid. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you
this is
see that and you're
normal.
like, oh, this is so familiar. I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what to do here.
Mm-hmm.
Bend over backwards, give them the shirt off my back. Then I
Yep.
know I'll get kicked to the curb
Yep.
and feel terrible,
Mm-hmm.
take months of grieving
Mm-hmm.
and standing back up, and I'll do it all over again. And it's like people know this cycle. They're so familiar with it and they don't want to keep doing it. I'm tired of getting kicked to the curb.
Oh yeah, for real.
So tired. Yeah.
They're tired of pursuing and not receiving. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's well said. Yeah. And that's why Rachel and I encourage you to do EFIT because you're taking the older, wiser self and you're saying, and Rachel taught me this, reparenting yourself. Like, oh, that's not normal. Let me go visit little Linda and tell her she's lovable just the way she is.
Yes, that's from Nicole LaPera, the holistic psychologist.
Thank you.
Yeah, and her book, How to Do the Work.
Be parenting yourself. And that, oh, Rachel, that takes all day, doesn't it? Like you're like constantly catching yourself. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
not good enough. I'm not worthy. Where's that coming from? Yeah.
yes. And for anyone unfamiliar with the acronym EFIT, that's emotionally focused individual therapy that
Hmm.
Linda and I offer at Truvine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So starting with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
increasing your self-awareness and working on those cycles that you have been stuck in that are no longer serving you. At one point in your life, you needed that cycle to stay
Yeah.
safe. But
Mm-hmm.
now, you are more than likely out of that environment and that cycle is no longer serving you, keeping you stuck.
Mm-hmm. And is it Gaber? Tell me how to say Gaber's last name. You told me last time.
I have no idea. I pronounce it Gaber mate, but that's probably wrong. It might be mate. I have no, Mate,
We
right?
want to reference him. He's so good.
Yeah,
I,
he is. He's
he's
like an expert in trauma,
oh, an
right?
attachment.
Yeah. Hmm.
He says if you're so familiar with that, like that style of like if you attract an avoidant type in your adult life, you're pursuing what you didn't receive from the primary parent that you long to be seen by in
Right.
the
That's what we refer to as the unmet need. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
So when you notice that you attract a person similar to the worst parent, then that means you probably and you're already in that relationship. You need to work on your own stuff.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So we're doing our own inner work
Mm-hmm.
to become aware of what in the EFT community we refer to as our raw spots.
Yes.
Okay. I have this raw spot where I never feel good enough, right? That's a very common one
Yeah.
where I feel like a failure, right? Or I feel like I'm too much for people, right? You become aware of your raw spot so that you know when you're getting defensive or hurt in a relationship, that is that raw spot getting rubbed.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn skills to manage that when it happens.
Exactly, Rachel. Mm-hmm. So that brings us to journaling. Do you have your
Nice.
folks journal?
What is it?
Do you
Do I
have
have
some of
my
your
folks journal? Yes. Yes. If they're open to that, yeah, people find it incredibly helpful.
mm-hmm. And when they journal, they're like, today I got really angry and I didn't know what I was angry. So then I say, well, who or what happened that day? Who did you interact with? And they're like, oh, well, I interacted with, this person at the car shop that reminded me of fill in the blank. The rest of the day, I was in a foul mood.
Yep.
There, that's why the journaling helps because you can't track why you're upset. You don't even.
Right. Yes. I give people this poem that I learned at an EFT training that kind of gives them like a step by step to fill out, right? What was the cue? What was the thing that happened, a specific phrase that was said, someone's specific body language, right? What was the cue? What
Mm-hmm.
what what tipped the first domino in that whole situation, right? What did it mean to you
There you
when
go.
you saw that specific thing, that cue? What meaning did your mind and body make out of that?
Mm-hmm.
What did your body do,
Mm,
what
mm-hmm.
physiological arousal started to happen, right? Your heart was racing, you got tense, you felt like wanted to shrink, tears came to your eyes.
Mm,
What did you do? What was your behavior in response to that cue, that
mm-hmm.
meaning made, and your bodily sensation, right? Did you lash out, start screaming at the mechanic? Did you get in your car and drive off? Like, did you just freeze, stand there, right? So, yeah, what was the cue? What did it mean to you? What did your body do? What did you do? People
Mhm.
remember those four things, and that helps them journal out the process.
Good job, Rachel. That's a great technique. Send that my way. I don't,
Yeah.
I usually have them just track, journal what emotion were you feeling? What was happening? Who was there? Even smells and sounds for us
Hmm.
hypersensitive types.
Yeah, those can be cues for sure, especially if you have trauma history.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's so good. I love the work you do with them. That's so good.
Thanks. Yeah. I would not be where I'm at today without you, Linda. Yeah, introducing me to emotionally focused therapy. I love it. It's the best, in my opinion.
I'm gonna cry. You're making
The ripple effect. Be proud
Oh,
of, yeah, be proud
oh,
of the change in the counseling community that you're helping to make, introducing all of us to EFT. It's great.
thank you, Rachel. My heart's warm and my eyes are filling up with water and yeah,
Yeah. See, you can use that for positive emotions too. It's
that's
good to
right.
process those as well. Yeah.
Hmm. She touched my heart. Shelley Coleman and Christy Eastman, I want to give them a shout out for introducing me to emotionally focused couples therapy years ago. Oh, has it been 8 years ago? Gosh, Rachel,
I
time.
think so. Yeah. You introduced it to me in 2019, and you had been practicing it
Wow.
prior to that. So, yeah.
Aw. Trickle effect.
Yep.
It's
It's pretty
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So people
how,
are,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead. So people are doing their own work,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've made that clear. That's important. But now, they're aware, they have coping skills, they're able to manage their own emotions. What are we looking for between ourselves and other people, like in a healthy relationship? I think effective communication
Yes.
is a
Yes.
big one,
I'm looking at
right?
our notes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I be open and honest with this person without fear of retaliation, without being afraid that they're gonna like belittle me?
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be the first sign to know I'm not in a healthy relationship.
Right.
If I share with you I'm feeling anxious and you just say, get over it. Linda, that's hard to be anxious all the time. Then I would know you see me and then we'd have an open communication. Yeah.
Mhm. A lot of people are fixers, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you say you're anxious,
Mm-hmm.
just, most people, if they haven't done therapy, are going to be like, oh, well, what are you anxious about? Because they want to help you come up with a plan. They want to offer suggestion. I don't think that's necessarily unhealthy. They are trying to be helpful and show that they
Yeah.
care about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right. They're trying to help. Well, let's fix this. Sometimes like what Brene Brown says, you go down in the hole and you empathize and you sit with the person in the sad or in the scared
Right.
and you just sit with it. And and when you're fresh in the field, Rachel, and working with, my class at Marshall, I love it. They're just now learning the listening skills. And often when they first start out, they want to move in and fix it because they're loving and helping.
Yeah. Didn't we all do that? Our first, right, year
Oh,
of
yeah.
counseling, school education, right?
Master's level, yes, we were trying to
Yes.
fix it.
First year of master's program.
So open communication is I can share this with you and be open with you, and it's not going to be received with dismissal or pushback. Open communication.
Yes. Yeah. And a big part of open communication is, you've already done your own work, hopefully, so you
Yep.
know what you need and you can express that specifically. Hey, I'm feeling really anxious about something. I don't need you to fix it. I'm not necessarily looking for suggestions. I just
Right.
need someone to share this with. That's
Mm-hmm.
so relieving to the other person because they know exactly what to do to help you. You just told them.
That's perfect.
They don't have
Yeah.
to guess.
Yeah, you're right, Rachel. Be explicit. Don't like try to get people to figure out what you need. People don't know,
Yeah,
you know.
right. But if
Assume
you
they
grew up in a house that you like that wasn't done
know.
and
Mm-hmm.
you grew up having to kind of like read people's minds, I'm saying in air quotes because nobody really can, but you know, then you don't know to share things explicitly. That's new.
Yeah. You took me a place. I was thinking about that growing
Mm,
up. I would scan the environment, look at the body language. If the facial expression was angry, I knew this person's not approachable. I will not be approaching them with anything. No one's there. And then you just go into
yep,
your closet and hide and talk to God. And that's
yep.
okay too. That's a good way to heal.
Hmm.
Great way. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if someone's not there for you, you're just like, wow. So, like you said, you did your own reparenting of your inner child. This is the work that Rachel and I do. And she does a great job of it, is helping the person heal those parts that didn't feel safe growing up. So that when you do get into an adult relationship, hey, hey, when you made that face, I got scared. You didn't mean to make a face, but it scared me. Yeah.
Yep,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And you need respect
mm,
when you're sharing these vulnerable things. You got to know
mhm,
that that person is going to respect you, respect your past, respect how it's affecting you present day. We're looking for understanding,
mhm.
empathy.
Yes, empathy. What is empathy? We've probably defined this 100 times.
I know, but we love it, right?
Mhm,
Yeah, it's like empathy is not feeling sorry for someone, it's not having pity, it
mhm,
is putting yourself in their shoes, so to speak, right? It's like,
mhm,
wow, yeah. Based on what I know about your upbringing, I can see how that face really upset you and scared you. That would be empathy. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I'm not, oh, you poor little thing.
Right? Yeah, no one wants to be pitied. That doesn't feel good. That's
It makes you feel
yucky.
less than.
Yes. That's a belittling thing. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. So I want to keep referencing the question, Rachel, because I want to make sure I'm tracking well for our,
Yeah,
for our listeners. Is that okay?
please.
So we're answering or attempting, I'm attempting, she's doing a great job, Rachel is, but attempting to answer the question, how do you know what healthy is if you have been in these attachment patterns all your life? Trust. Number three, trust. Can I trust you?
Do you know if you can trust someone?
Well,
That's the ultimate question for so many people. Yeah,
I mean, I'm thinking of several questions. Is that okay?
please. Yeah,
Did
totally
you
okay.
did you do what you said you were going to do? If the person does what they say they're going to do, I'll be there at 5, and they show up at 5, 5:10, 5:15. They're showing up
Hmm.
every time we schedule something. They show up. Can I trust you? I get sick, and you bring me a tissue. That builds trust. Um, you check in on me if I don't feel well. If you haven't heard from me in a long time and you just send me a nice text, I'm talking about friendships too, family and your significant other. This is how you know you can trust these people.
Yeah, sounds like they're actively proving that they care and that
Yeah.
they are reliable
Mm-hmm.
through their behavior.
Yeah. I don't like it when people schedule something with me and then they don't show or they cancel. I don't have a lot of grace for that. And I think it's my upbringing.
Mm,
Like, don't commit. I'm
right,
like, don't even, why did you commit to this? Now I feel let down.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
consistent, right? Like that always happens. They're always canceling. Yeah,
Things do show up. Kids get sick, you get sick, something can show up and you can't show up.
right.
But I don't have any grace for that. It's a
Mm,
problem. I'm like, don't commit then. Don't commit. Just don't commit. But the intention was to commit. And and then I start to, if you grew up with an insecure attachment, you start saying, well, what is it about me? They don't like hanging out with me. Am I too
so
much? Maybe
something
I'm,
better must have come up. I'm not
yeah.
good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So trust. That's how you start knowing, does this person show up for me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are they reliable? Can I
Would you,
trust that when they say something, they're going to follow through? Can I take them at their word? Yeah.
yeah. How would you measure trust? Is that how you would measure trust?
I think the same. Yeah.
Oh.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
think
could put
also if I share something with them
mm-hmm.
and ask them not to tell other people, they follow through. I think trust is like about follow through. Yeah. In so many ways, so many different versions of that.
If I put $100 bill down and just leave it right there, you're gonna take it. I mean, that's a trust thing some people could do, I guess.
Right.
Trust test.
Lynn, Linda's over here playing games people play right now. I'm just
Games
kidding.
people play. I wouldn't do that to test someone. I wouldn't do
No.
that. That wouldn't be a good test. I'm saying I've heard people say, well, could you lay money down and you could trust, you could, and I build trust with the boys at the group home.
Mm,
I'll leave something in the Jeep, like a, a snack I brought him or I forgot. And I'm like, here's my Jeep keys. Can Miss Linda trust you to go get the item and not take off and leave the campus? Yes, Miss Linda. And it
hope
builds
so.
trust. They're like,
Yeah.
Linda, trust me. And that they've never had an adult trust them.
Yeah.
I'm building it.
Mutual trust. Yeah. Is so important in a healthy relationship
Yeah.
where both people feel secure and confident.
Yeah. So that's how you know that you're in a relationship that's secure. Because we're still answering the question, if you grew up with these patterns, how do you know when you're in a healthy relationship? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can communicate effectively with this person.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell them, this is what I need, this is how I'm feeling, and they're not going to ridicule you. They can also communicate those things with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level of respect. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's mutual trust. You trust one another, you respect one another. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You support one another.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that they have a goal, you help them achieve it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna go out and buy Charlie a chocolate cake if he's on a weight loss program.
Exactly. That would not be
For him?
supporting him, right?
No. Yeah. It's you want to, if you know someone's trying to reach a goal, you're gonna say, well, how can I help you reach the goal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're going through a difficult, challenging time, support would look like you being there for them
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa, them being there for you if you're going through a difficult time.
I don't know
As long
about
as
you.
they actually know
Yeah.
it, as long, right? If you're
That's
going through a difficult time and you're not telling anybody and nobody knows, we can't
right.
expect people to be showing up for us, right? Like people have to
That's
know
true.
first in order to show up. They can't read your mind.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Rachel. Have you ever noticed, like, I don't know with you and Sam, but with me and Charlie, like, if I'm having a tough week, he's having a good week. And then if I'm having a good week, he's sometimes having a tough week. So
No.
I have to move in and support him, like, say, work was extra hard or, I'm not feeling my best. Like, I've noticed that there's a flip flop. So it's kind of cool that you can move in and try to meet a need when you're able to.
Yes, that's I think is ideal if you're having a good week and your partner's not, because if you're both having a terrible week, that is rough. That
It
is really rough.
happens. It
It
happens.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is more rare, luckily.
Hmm. Yeah. And after support, well, we got boundaries or equality. Is it equality?
Yes.
Oh,
Like
I love
both people are contributing.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not like out here, you know, doing all the laundry, cleaning all the floors, paying all the bills, mowing all the grass, taking down the Christmas stuff all by myself.
Right.
I hear that a lot. Like, what in the world? Where's your partner contribution to this equality relationship?
Right. The chores and like things are divided, right?
Mm-hmm.
Divide and conquer. We're doing this together.
Yeah, the contribution. Because you'll build resentment if you're the one doing all the things to run the household.
Exhausted. And so many people end up in that situation, don't they? Yeah, unfortunately.
And that goes back to how they grew up performing, doing, trying to reach the caregiver with actions. So they overfunction. Is that how Brene Brown puts it? Overfunctioning. Is
Yes.
that the right
Yes.
word? No.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then if you're the one doing all the work, Rachel, what emotion starts to come up? Dr. Gottman talks about this emotion being one of the um
Yeah.
it's,
I think did you say resentment?
yes, resentment.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So if you're not in
Yeah.
an equal relationship, lateral, you're both contributing, you'll resent your partner, and then eventually you'll end up not together.
Yeah.
Maybe. Unless you're so
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah. So that goes
Yeah.
back to communication. Back to communication. Communication's the foundation. Have we talked about this? Are we aware of each other's expectations when it comes to chores?
Hmm.
Do you possess a more like traditional idea of like gender roles and chores within the home, or do you have a more modern view of that? Like that's important to know
Yeah, I can
where
take
you're
out the
5 years
trash.
in or something, right? And like, oh, I don't think that I should have to wash dishes or do laundry as right. And then, like Linda's blinking. For those of you just listening to this on this, she's like, come again? Excuse me?
Okay. We both contribute.
Uh-huh.
So I can do the trash. You can do the dishes. I'm a female. I don't care. Do I want to take out the trash? Not really. Do I mind doing dishes? I don't mind it too much. Okay.
Yeah,
But I'm not going to do everything. No. I
wouldn't
work
be
too,
fair.
honey.
Yeah, would not be fair.
Yeah. So make it explicit. You know what we did, Rachel? When Grant was little,
What?
we, we made a constitution. He's probably like traumatized by our constitution. We made a constitution that said, here, hereby, Linda, Charles, and Grant. Grant's chores are this, and this. Mom's chores are this, and this. Dad's chores are. We made it
Nice.
explicit and put it on the refrigerator. We were really trying. You
Yeah,
know, we both brought our stuff into our marriage, and it's been a road, right?
sure.
We were trying. We made it explicit. And everybody looked at it and we were like, yeah, we all signed it.
I love
Contract.
that.
Yeah. Because
Yes,
you don't want to resent your family members because you're doing all the things. And women do a lot. Women will try to do everything.
yeah. Because we've talked a lot about like household chores, those things that are like tangible, but there are also like non-tangible chores, like the emotional like weight of a relationship that people carry that
Hmm.
sometimes is not as equal, is not shared. Yeah.
That's true. And what's an example of that? Help me understand that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one too, but I think it would be like I don't know, like if they're if you have a kid that's sick, and you're the one like nurturing them,
Mm,
right, back to health. That can be like draining on you. Like it's hard to see your child sick, and you've got like all these tasks, right? Mental tasks in your head that you've got to get done. Like, oh, I got to go to the pharmacy and get this medicine. I've got to schedule this doctor's appointment so that they can go get their checkup. And yeah, if you're not communicating that with your partner and
mhm.
sharing those responsibilities, it can feel like the scale begins to tip, right?
Yeah.
And that you're doing it all.
And that breeds resentment.
Yes.
Is that one of the four horsemen for
I think
divorce?
so. I think it is one of the four horsemen. Yeah.
Dr. Gottman's work. Check him out. Yeah. And just saying, hey, oh, and Charlie was really great about taking care of Grant when he was sick because I would get anxious about him being sick. So he was a great caretaker for the sick baby when he got sick because that would make me anxious. But I did all the other parts, right?
Right.
So we
So it
understood.
was shared. That's great. Absolutely.
Yeah, so good with sick. So good with sick.
You
And boundaries. What do we want to say about how do you know if you're in a healthy relationship with boundaries?
Yeah. Do you do absolutely every single thing together all of the time? Or do you have some time to yourself, some personal space, some hobbies that are just yours, right? Or things that you do with just your friends? Like, do you have moments where you're not just this like relationship, this couple all the time? You
Mm.
also have your own personal individual identity outside
Hmm.
of this relationship. You have both, and there's some balance there.
Yeah. And Rachel, you said that so well. That's an enmeshed, I don't know who I am, where I begin and where you end, and where you begin and where I end. We're just this thing. Walking around.
Yes,
We have all the same values. We say yes to all the same things. It's like you lose your identity, you
right,
know. You're first who God made you, then you come together and you form a secure attachment, but you're your own person and you're your own person.
right.
Boundaries. That's good.
And you're
Hmm.
able to say no.
Hmm. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
yes, practice that. That's right.
Good. Oh, and I'm looking at our next part is conflict resolution. Can you need a new car. Okay, your car's given out. You've been to the mechanic 100 times. Your partner would rather not have a car payment. And you're like, well, what do we do? Can you have an open discussion about how you're going to get to and from work when your car's not working? What the conflict resolution there? What do we want to do about that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a big enough conflict, but you know,
Any conflict is a good example, right? You got to come to a compromise. Got to be able to compromise, right?
hmm
What would be a car payment that, even though, we don't want one, but like what would be one that we could afford? What would be a reasonable one, right? And we'll base our car search off of, what's possible for that monthly payment.
hmm that you can even have the discussion without one getting mad.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Now, I think it's important for people to understand that just because there's tension in a
Uh-huh.
conversation doesn't mean that there's anger present. Those are
Oh,
two different things.
that's good.
Sometimes an uncomfortable or awkward conversation does lead to tension. That doesn't mean anyone's mad at the that doesn't mean there's anger present.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. hmm Because you have one thing you want and they have one thing they want. So there is tension there.
Right. Anytime that there's discomfort, there can be some tension, right? I
Yeah,
think.
totally.
I think it's so easy to get that. I myself, right? Fit
Hmm.
get yeah, have to remind myself that like this is tension, nobody's angry, it's okay. Like
Aw.
yeah.
Yeah. Because what's your action tendency when you feel any tension, Rachel?
Yeah, I would say just to be like, it's okay, it's fine. Like go into that people pleaser, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would be healthy is to say, well, I disagree, and I feel like we should.
Yeah. So like go ahead and voice your opinion anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, affection and intimacy, physical and emotional intimacy. I should be able to tell you when I'm sad, right? And
Yes.
mm-hmm,
Or scared or mad. Yeah.
mm-hmm. And I'm going to rush through the last few, and I'll let you do the next one because I do have a 10 o'clock today.
Okay. Yeah. You have some shared values and goals, right? We're like working towards the same things together, right?
Mm,
Independence, which I think we talked about with boundaries, right? You have your own life as well as a life within the context of the relationship, and you're able to have fun together. You actually enjoy each other's company, right? You don't
mhm.
constantly feel drained, or
Mm.
resentful all the time. Yeah.
Now you're able to have fun and enjoyment. Uh, Charlie and I love to go dancing together, and that's something we've done even through all of our ups and downs. We've always went dancing together, and it kind of creates this fun, secure bond that we do enjoy it together. And
Yes.
Dr. Sue Johnson would be happy about that, that we're doing a tango. Well,
He
we don't know
would.
how to tango yet. I'd like to learn how to tango.
I know. I wish there was a ballroom dancing class around here. I would take that.
Hey,
No.
let's throw that out there. Hey, if someone's listening and you want to build a ballroom, I'm
You got
coming.
two couple participants right here. You got them. Yeah.
Yes, we need one.
Hmm.
So, do we feel like we've answered that awesome question about how do you know if you grew up with
I
not a
hope
safe
so.
bond? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, a very quick outline blueprint of what a healthy relationship would look like, aspects that you can look for.
And I love it when our clients pose these wonderful questions for us to tackle and see how we can make sense of it.
Yes. Yeah. Keep those wonderful questions coming, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.
Bye.